the Celtic 1, Motherwell 1. You and Martin, we watched that game there in the first half. We were under absolutely no real pressure. There was a couple of wee moments, I think, where we thought, oh, we could have done better there, and then all of a sudden we lose that goal. We did say at the beginning of the game there could be a goal in this for Motherwell, and so it proved. Let's not just focus on that, though. Let's talk about the first half. What was your thoughts? Obviously, it's going to be affected by Juranovic's OG, but what was your thoughts up to that point?
Well, I think we kind of started slowly, but once we got that first goal, we kind of back into what you expect, cruise control, creating chances. I mean, we had 2 fantastic chances at least to score, to go 2 up, maybe 3 up. Score them, it's a different game. You know, it's cruise control. The McGregor miss was a bad miss. Juranovic was a fantastic free kick, but the goal we lost, I mean, it was just schoolboy stuff, wasn't it? I mean, it was a wee chip in the box, and I'm not happy with that at all. Who to blame for that? I mean, I would actually say Hart was at fault, because Hart should have been on his line. You know, Juranovic is thinking, okay, I'm just going to chest it back to the keeper, easy as. Hart's running out, to the side. I don't know why he's doing that.
No.
You know, so so a game we should have been cruising, but we're not.
Well, you're talking about Hart. I'm going to bring up a comment here from Danielle, who regularly comments on the YouTube stream. Welcome to the show. Time to give Siegrist a chance. Now, this was a point of discussion that came up during the week, mainly in the comment section, talking about Joe Hart and the fact that maybe there was an argument to suggest that Siegrist should come in. Now, I'm going to focus on the goal, because we had a chat about it there and we watched it back. I really don't know where Joe Hart's going. Right, so the ball is lobbed in. It's a ball that should be dealt with, no problem, by our defence, right? And I'm looking at Juranovic. He's really got 2 options. He can just header it and try and get a wee bit of distance in it, right? But he's heading it into kind of no man's land. We're going to have to win the second ball. So he's decided for me to do the right thing. Just let the ball hit him. So he's not put any kind of pace on it. Just let the ball cushion into his chest. And his goalkeeper, you would have expected, would have been standing in position. Yep. But when you watch it back, particularly from behind the goals, Ewan, Joe Hart's making his way. He's already bypassed Juranovic's position. Where's he going? So what's he expecting Juranovic to do? Is he expecting him just to duck and leave it?
That's just the crazy thing. I mean, when you first look at it, you think, right, who's at fault? And then when you watch it back a couple of times, you're thinking, Hart's got to stay in his line. I mean, Hart's got to stay. The ball's, he must see the ball's dropping towards Juranovic. There's no one near Juranovic. So Juranovic is either, you say, header it wide, or he's going to maybe try and control it and turn, or do the other thing, which he did, just chest it back to the keeper, expecting Hart to be on his goal line. Mm-hmm. So, that's just crazy decision, a crazy goal to lose in a game where we're cruising, and now it's maybe going to be a very difficult second half, because the confidence, we don't look, we're not playing great. I mean, as I say, we had chances to score a few more goals, but we're certainly not playing fantastic football.
I'll have a look at some of the chances that we did have, and some of the comments that are coming in. Let's discuss those as well. Paul Cockwell, not great, boys. I agree with that. And Magnet comes in, still not firing on all cylinders, which I think Ewan was saying there. We're now sitting at 1 each. And, you know, Motherwell haven't been great. Let's be honest. It's not as though they've carved us open time and time again, Ewan. It was one of the passes, just a wee dink into the box. Easy to deal with, let's be honest. And I think when Juranovic lets it, you know, bounce off his chest like that, that's in keeping with what Ange Postecoglou does. Keep possession of the ball. Don't just fire it into space. Don't just try and clear it. He's just knocking it back to the goalie. Yeah. So I'm not going to blame Juranovic here, but some people watching that first half probably would disagree. So I'm going to bring up this comment here from Steve O'Matt. Another limp 45 minutes again from Celtic. Totally agree with that. No problem with that comment. Juranovic a mile off it once again. Now, we'll talk about that for a moment, because I don't think he had a bad game in the first half.
No, I can't agree with that comment. I mean, as we've just discussed, that's not Juranovic's fault. I think this season Juranovic has been outstanding. His pace and energy driving down that right side. I mean, all right, 1 or 2 mistakes here and there, but every player makes one one or two mistakes. You know, they might lose a ball here or there, but no, I don't think Juranovic has been poor at all. I mean, his free kick. I mean, that was what shot that was.
Yeah.
An inch from a great goal. I think today Joe Hart. I mean, I think not just the goal there, Will Lewis, but there was 2 or 3 other times.
Right after it,
He was flapping
he
about.
was ponderous.
Yeah.
The Motherwell player gets too close to him, then his pass is poor.
I've been a big fan of Hart. He's done great, but today he's definitely and against St Mirren 2 weeks ago, he's certainly not done himself any. You know, I mean, he's not done himself any good.
No, now I'm not saying Steve O'Mac come in and we're just going to ridicule your comment. Absolutely not. What I would say about Juranovic is the other moments of the game that stood out for me was the strike from the free kick, which was excellent. He strikes the bar. Near the end of the first half, he gets himself into a really good position and it goes over. But in the first 15 minutes, it was his movement and his cross that created a chance for Maeda, who unfortunately didn't get on the end of it. So I think the issue was perhaps that there's a commanding voice missing at the back for Celtic at the moment in Cameron Carter-Vickers. And when he's missing, you are looking on Joe Hart to be the guy that steps up, because you've got a partnership there in Jens and Welsh who have barely played together. And you need the goalkeeper to be the commanding figure there.
I think the half as well. I'm not trying to go in Welsh, but I think it's shown for those cross balls. He just doesn't. I don't know why, but he just doesn't seem to jump very well or command it, or he's in the wrong position. With Cameron Vickers not being there, is that affecting Joe Hart? Because when Cameron Carter-Vickers is playing, because it's the last 2 games, St Mirren today, we don't have him in that pivotal role in defence, and Joe Hart's had 2 bad games so far. Is that any coincidence? I think that his influence is just really, really big.
It's huge
on our team.
Yeah, it's
and
massive.
It's shown. It really is shown.
And it's at that point that you look at Joe Hart with the experience, the wealth of experience that he has, to just step up. Because you've got Welsh there, though, although he's been in and around the first team. Now this is it, like his 3rd season in and around the first team, and you know he even had an appearance 4 seasons ago. I still look upon him in terms of the game time that he's had. First team experience, not massive. Jens just came into the club. You need Hart to be that man. You need him to be the rock at the back. And I don't think he's done it today or against St Mirren. Mick, Joe Hart, not got a voice. That's the issue. He needs to know. Juranovic needs to know if Hart's moving out of that position where everybody would expect him to be. Juranovic needs to know about it. Joe Fulham,
call for it.
Yeah, need to get out of this slump. Well, what I would say, Joe, is I still think that my prediction at the beginning of the game will come to fruition.
We did say we'd lose a goal.
We'll lose a goal.
We did, because we kind of know at the back, without the defence pairing there, we are a bit shaky. So
I think the one point, and again, I've stood up for Welsh so much on a Celtic State of Mind, and I'm not writing them off, but there's a few occasions there, Ewan, where the ball comes in, and it seems to be like a bread and butter ball for a centre half to go and attack. And it always seems to, get beat to the ball, but he's way off it. It's almost as if he leads with his hands rather than with his head a lot of the time.
Do you know who he reminds me of? Derek White back in the day. Remember Derek White back in the late 80s?
Derek White had a tan, no far off yours, to be fair.
No. So I mean, because when I remember back in the day with Derek White, we used to always call him Danger Ball, because he'd always play these balls. It was, oh my God, he's going to do something silly.
Wasn't it Derek White though? We were talking about the Partizan Belgrade game, the 5-4 game at Celtic Park. Was it no Whitey that lost the ball for their 4th goal?
I was in the jungle that day, and that was one of the strangest games. I know we're going to kind of go off kilt here, but that was one of the most strangest up and down games ever, and it was one of the worst feelings at full time. Tell you that much.
I know. Try to figure out if we've gone through, and then realising no, we haven't actually.
No, I knew. I mean, I knew when that goal went in, that was us out. You know, so I knew straight away. And the thing was, in the jungle, when the cross came in, you seen before the guy headed it in the back of the net, you seen it coming. It was the most sinking feeling ever. Really was.
It was, and you've mentioned Big Derek White. That's my criticism of Welsh. I just think that when the ball's coming in, he doesn't lead with his head, and he's getting beat physically too often as well. And I know that he's won a few free kicks, but I think he's been targeted on the physical basis, without a doubt. Kevin Porter, poor, need to step up in the second half. Listen, I think we will. And Daniel comes in, Daniel Rowe, welcome to the show. We've been unlucky with hitting the post. Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's another couple of chances as well. Great possession in the first half. Boys came out to play. It could very well be 3-1. I'm sticking to 3-1 as the full-time score. So more comments, welcome. Where has it gone wrong in that first half? What can we do to improve it? Do you make any kind of changes at half-time? Joe Porter, welcome back to the show, Joe. CCV is massive for Celtic.
Massive loss.
He's a huge loss. It goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the game, Ewan. January. We will strengthen in January. We need to get a centre-half in. We need to get a centre-forward in.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with that is, you bring them in, and I don't think you're going to get a better centre-half than Carter Vickers or a better striker than Kyogo. Better than what we've already got. But I think what we need to have is that backup option, because that central defensive partnership, for me, has been targeted by a team who are sitting 8th in the league.
You can't see when your back line is not right and it's weak and it's vulnerable. Then also the front part of the team gets affected. And this is what's happened today and against St Mirren. Again, going back to Cameron Carter-Vickers being missing, it's just massive. It really is. It just shows you how good a player he is and how important he is. I just hope second half I think Ange might make a change at half time. I don't think Maeda's done that much. Again, O'Reilly's been quiet as well, I think. So
O'Reilly has been quiet. There's a few criticisms of the midfield. That was for me, the strongest part of the team. When you see the starting lineup, midfield needs a lift, says Sean O'Sullivan, giving the ball away too often. There was a few occasions where Callum McGregor done what Callum McGregor does, where he seems to grab the game.
The opening goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, grabs the game by the scruff of the neck. But he had a great chance. And one thing that we've got used to with Callum, from distance, he seems to have this knack of placing the ball in the back of the net, at pace. It's not as if he puts his laces through it. That was all over the place, and it's gone high and wide.
He should have buried that. I mean, he got his body shape all wrong. Just leaning back. But that goes in. Different game. I mean, again, we could be 3 up, 4 up, half time, cruising, praising how good we are, but not.
See the thing, right? And I've got to bring this up from Marquis. I expected Juranovic to duck out the way after a shout from Hart. We've lost the goal and we're disappointed. So at half time, naturally we're thinking, who's responsible? It's a blame game, right? So we're talking about Hart, but we don't actually know if there was a shout. And I think that's key to figuring out where that all went wrong.
But to that point there, the theory behind that is if Juranovic ducks, again, that's Hart should be on his line to collect it. But Hart's he's ran away. He's running it to the side. So I don't know what's going through Hart's mind.
Yeah, even when it happens, you're thinking he can
could
still
have left it.
Yeah,
and it would go to Hart if Hart stayed on his line, but he didn't. So I know it's easy to say, maybe Juranovic shouldn't have touched it, but I just think 100% that's Joe Hart's. That's his error that's cost us that goal.
Yeah, and there's also a discussion in the comment section around Jota's form, and I tend to agree with Jack. I think Jota overall this season has been very, very good. He's been quiet in a couple of games, but he is the kind of player that you're looking to in the second half to make the difference, to get that breakthrough again, Ewan.
Mm-hmm. The trouble is when you have a bad defeat and then you're struggling a wee bit half time, people start pointing fingers. Whose fault? Who's to blame? So a lot of people get, you pick on players. You want to say he's at fault. I think generally I just go back to the fact that at the back we're not stable at the back, and that's affecting the whole team.
Yeah, it definitely is. Pry comes in, carrying on from last game. Is Carter Vickers so crucial? He is. Absolutely. He definitely is. And I think even last season, the partnership he formed with Starfelt was the best in Scotland. Even though Starfelt's playing out of position in terms of the side that he's playing on the left, he's right-footed, he's not as comfortable on the left. Despite all that, we still had the best defensive record in the league. And I think there was 2 elements. The first one was, in the previous season, we didn't have a bona fide number 1. We didn't know who the best goalie was because we had 3 goalkeepers all getting a shot at the jersey. This season round, Joe Hart number 1. absolute stick on last season rather, and we had that partnership, with Starfelt and Cameron Vickers that very quickly started creating this backline that for me was solid. We've been missing that over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, Carter Vickers is a big part, but let's not forget that Starfelt's a big part of that as well. And I know he comes in for a bit of criticism. So it's not one of those ones where they become better the longer they're out you. And
the one good point is that Ange kind of hinted that Cameron Carter Vickers is not too far away from coming back, thankfully.
Yeah, thank goodness for that on that show. And let's get an early goal. Let's get back on it, and we will join you at full time. Thanks everybody for getting involved in the chat. We will disagree. That's what it's all about, but we won't fall out. And thank you once again, you and Martin, for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.